Hi everyone. We were discussing about the quality of life. Who decides our quality of life? So I gave a few examples in the last episode. Let me go a little more into that. Couple of decades ago, there was what was called scale of pay. It will talk about a basic pay and there's a scale. Let's talk about 400 -20 -500 -25 -600. You may not be aware if you belong to the recent generations, but even today it's available in the government sector, public sector. In many organizations, for the union category, quote unquote union category, the scale of pay continues. In some of the public sector organizations, even in private sector organizations, even for executives and managers, there is a scale of pay given. That means you are fixed in a scale and your increment is decided by the scale of pay. Let's say that I draw a salary of, let's say, 12,000 rupees. I'm a machine operator. The increment is decided by a stroke of a pen or a computer. Uniform increment, one increment to everybody. That's it. For more than 4 decades, I have sat through the promotion increment work yearly, which is given to everybody. 80% of the increment will be decided in 20% of the time. The balance 20% of the increment, there will be a lot of discussion. யாருக்கு ப்ரமோஷன் கொடுக்கணும், யாருக்கு டபுள் இன்க்ரிமெண்ட் கொடுக்கணும், யாருக்கு கேஷ் அவார்ட் கொடுக்கணும். What will happen if the increment is denied or not given? That discussion will take place for a select few. Maybe days will be lost in that. And they represent the critical mass of the organization who decide the fate of the organization. So you will have to decide whether you would love to become a part of the 80% group whose increment is decided like that by a mission, or would you like to belong to that segment of critical people who will decide the future of the organization. That will decide the quality of your life. Every year, as soon as the increment is announced, promotion list is announced, there will be a stream of visitors to my room with a grievance. He also joined along with me in the same year, sir. Both of us were classmates right from the school days, sir. He is given more increment, I am given less increment. All those days are gone. We have to be very, very clear as to whether we decide the increment or the organization is going to decide the increment. How indispensable we are in the organization. Is the organization depends on us, or we depend on the organization for our survival? Very simple. Make a note of some of these equations I am talking about. Me minus my organization is equal to what? Me minus my organization, which means for some reason you lose your job or you relinquish your job. What will happen next day morning? Whether your absence will be felt or celebrated. I have been doing a lot of retirement counseling these days. People are afraid to retire. They're used to that perks and life that a job gives them, the security a job gives them, the medical benefit, the welfare, the fellowship, everything is depending upon is sticking on to the organization. So the first equation is me minus my organization. Honestly ask yourself, how comfortable are you? The second equation is my organization minus me. My organization minus me. Which means, are you willing to resign your job and see what happens? If you have the guts, resign the job and see what happens. If you are so critical, the organization will not allow you to leave. The third equation is my organization along with me minus the customers. What will happen to me? My organization along with me minus the customers. If the customer decide to leave the organization, where is the question of increment, where is the question of promotion, where is the question of welfare, where is the question of security? Nothing. So we have to understand the interplay between these three equations. Along with this, let me also raise two more issues for you to ponder. One is called replacement cost. The other one is called a transfer value. Replacement cost. Supposing the organization looks for a replacement for me, will they get a person who is more qualified, more experienced, but will cost the company less? That's called the replacement cost. The second one is transfer value. If today I decide to leave the organization and apply for a new organization, will I get a salary 10 rupees more than what I am getting? That is called a transfer value. In the replacement cost parameter, if I leave, the organization will have to pay much more than me, what they are paying me, to replace me. That means we become more valuable to the organization. If the organization can get a person half the salary, then I have a problem. Similarly, transfer value, if I am getting a 10x salary today, cost to the company, if I apply for a job, if I am able to get 15x, that gap means that I am underpaid, the industry is willing to pay me more. Now, these are very, very important equations. Once we understand this, it's easier for us to decide who decides the quality of our life. Think about these equations. Gone are the days where you are, there's a value for working in a company for a long years of service. These days, the turnover is good both for the employee as well as for the organization. Keep thinking about these equations. We'll meet in the next episode. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and press the bell button. We'll meet in the next episode.